$35 US.
They fix the price themselves, the US government. They fix the price at $35. In fact, if we want to be more specific with the answer, I'll have to tell you that the US government has no control over the money. It is something called the Federal Reserve. They're the ones who fix the price. They fix the price of gold at 35. But then, between 1944, when Bretton Woods was concluded, to 1973, the price moved from 35 to 40. Guess what happened in 1973? The war, the Ramadan War, also known as Yom Kippur War, and then King Faisal rahimahullah imposed the oil boycott. That was before some of you were born, Oil boycott on the United States. When Uncle Sam was slapped with his oil boycott, guess what happened to the US dollar? It collapsed by 400%. It was 40 and it became 160, which is a very plain and clear indication of the vulnerability of the US dollar. The second instance was in January 1980, after the Iranian Revolution. In fact, we know the exact date. It was the 15th of January 1980, when the market was afraid that the Iranian Revolution might be exported into the Gulf. And the US dollar fell to 850 US dollars to 1 ounce of gold, indicating the vulnerability of the US dollar. So when the attack comes, which I am anticipating is going to come soon, during this summer while I was touring Indonesia and Malaysia and Singapore, in my public lectures I was saying I expect it to come within the next 5 to 10 years. But after September the 11th, I think I have to expect it even earlier than that. Is it permissible for a Muslim to inherit from a non-Muslim? Why? Because the Muslim, if he is to pay even minimum attention to the concept of purity, has to ensure that what goes into his stomach is halal, because that can affect your spiritual state. The clothes that you wear must be halal. The non-Muslim may not be earning halal. He does not have Allah's law by which he can determine what is halal and what is haram. If you inherit from him, the first and the most dangerous possibility, therefore, is that you may be inheriting that which is haram and consuming that which is haram. If it is not permissible to inherit from a non-Muslim, how can it be permissible to accept charity from a non-Muslim? In a condition of darura, yes, you can even accept pork. So my answer does not apply to situations of darura. My answer applies to situations which do not qualify as darura. A Muslim, therefore, in order to ensure that whatever he consumes is halal, must ensure that whatever he accepts is also halal. Yes?
I've heard of a movement in North America and Europe known as Moral Reform that are reviving this concept of real money. Could you perhaps shed some light on that?
I met with Sheikh Abdul Qadir in Cape Town in October for the first time, and I met with Umar Vadilio in Cape Town in October for the first time. And alhamdulillah that I got a chance to meet with them. I have benefited myself from the writings of Omar Valilio, of the Morabitun, and I commend the Morabitun for the excellent work that they have done in attempting to explain the subject of riba, and in particular money, paper money. The Morabitun have gone beyond that to mint money. They're minting gold coins and minting silver coins. Alright? They are now seeking to establish Muslim villages. Exactly what I want to do. And in those Muslim villages, they want to reintroduce real money. But in the meantime, what they have done is to establish e-commerce, electronic commerce using the Islamic dinar. They ask you to buy dinars and then use your dinar for trade within their trading market. The only problem that we have found so far with this system is that it begins on the same foundation that the European system began, namely that we're not going to be using actual dinars and handing over dinars. No. That we'll be using a receipt for the dinar, while all the dinars are going to be kept in one central location, and we have to pay for the dinars to be kept there. They are going to be earning money while keeping and storing the dinars. And we have to depend upon their honesty and their integrity, that when we want our money, we can get our money. I'm not comfortable with that. In my market, every man will keep his money in his pocket and when under his pillow. And when you buy and sell, you will hand over money the way you did it when Muhammad ﷺ was alive. We have two questions from the sisters. You explain that if you are paying interest, it is also a sin. What happens if in the family, if your husband is paying the riba and you're the wife, what do you do? If your husband is in riba, directly in riba, he borrowed money on interest on the bank and he's paying the mortgage, and you're the wife, you have not signed the agreement. He has signed the agreement. If both of you have signed the agreement, then you are directly in riba. If he has signed the agreement, then he is riba. He is in riba, not you. If he's putting his money in a fixed deposit and earning the interest, and then using that interest to support the family, then not only is he consuming riba, but you're also consuming riba, and your children are also consuming riba. But if he's only paying riba, not taking riba, then he is in riba, not you. However, you're now living with a man whom the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has cursed. No woman should ever want to continue to live with a man who has the curse of the Prophet upon him. So what you do is you inform your husband, either you get out of riba or I want out of your life. He will then respond and say, well, you can leave if you want to leave, I get somebody else. Or he can respond and say, no, I'm wrong, I promise you, I'm going to get out of riba. In which case, you thank Allah that your husband has seen the right path, and you now assist him and encourage him to try to get out of riba. And both of you pray to Allah for help. What do you do with interest when you take it out of your account? I put $100,000 in a fixed deposit, and after 1 year I got, how much, about 10,000? About 10,000. And I now have this $10,000, which is riba money. Question is, what can I do with this 10,000? Can I give it to the poor? I can only give it to the poor if it's halal for the poor. Alright? If it's halal for the poor. But it will only be halal for the poor if Allah or His Messenger said that it is halal for the poor. Did Allah say that it is halal for the poor? No, He did not. Did the Prophet ﷺ say that it is halal for the poor? No, he did not. So if I give it to the poor,